Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, after being in the gym game for many years, Levi Kehoe changed his approach to fitness following his own health experiences. His business, Focus Health and Fitness, provides a deep analysis of the factors relating to health and fitness, and he joins us now to tell us more. Levi, before we discuss your business, can you give us an insight into your own background?
Well, I was competing in martial arts for a long time. I suppose I've always been very, very interested in the human body, the health of the body. So I ran a gym for a couple of years, focused a lot on fat loss, but I kind of knew there was something maybe missing from that, in that I know there's something more that health is meant to be, rather than solely the weight of the body or fat loss. So really what I wanted to do, I suppose, was start to look at that on a much deeper level.
And how did you go about investigating that further?
My own health deteriorated not that long ago, a couple of years back, just from working inside my business. I'm sure a lot of listeners can relate. You're working every hour that God gives. I was promoting health, but I wasn't very healthy myself. And so I went up to a functional medicine practitioner by the name of Owen Lacey, who actually mentors me now on a monthly basis. And Owen looked at my blood chemistry, not from just a clinical standpoint or from what we would call a disease standpoint, in that if you're not sick, you're fine. But we looked at it from a functional standpoint, and Owen was able to decipher where my body was actually starting to lose power, if you like, or lose energy. And, I wasn't sick, but my energy was on the deck. And so what I was able to discover off the back of that was I was able to look at my body from what we would call a functional medicine or functional nutrition standpoint. And really that just kicked things off for me. I was able to study with some of the best experts in the world from a biochemistry, physiology standpoint, and really what actually makes the body tick from the inside out.
So how did that influence then your service offering through Focus Health and Fitness?
Yeah, so really what that did for me was that gave me the tools to help people in what I believe is a much better way. So for me, what I wanted to do was I wanted to see people in the clinic. So I have an online clinic where I would see people from a functional nutrition, functional medicine standpoint. We would look through a blood chemistry and we would decipher what's going on with that person on a deep level. And hopefully what this would be for that person is preventative nutrition as opposed to reacting on the spot when something actually does go wrong. So that gave me the tools in order to be able to do that. I also wanted to look at lifestyle performance, both on a community level and a group level, and on a one-on-one basis for my high-performing executives and for women in general as well on the group program. So that's where I created the Deep Health program along with the clinic and then my high-performance and my health-intensive program.
So Levi, talk us through the process that you follow when you work with a client.
Yeah, so basically the way it would work with me is when I would take on a client, we would go through a detailed health and lifestyle history. They would fill out a form for me that would give me inference into what's actually going on with that client's body. So we would look at things like sleep, we would look at blood sugar management, we would look at digestion, and we would use these as benchmarkers of progression.
And I often think when it comes to health and fitness programs, it's all about stamina. And most people that commit themselves to it at the beginning find that stamina just wades over time. Do you find that yourself?
Yeah, you know what? I think if you join a program with the goal of simply losing weight, I think, and we know the statistics on this, and studies tell us that 95% of dieters will fail and end up probably back where they started and maybe in a worse position than the way they started, or where they started, I should say. So I think if you can have health as your compass, in that you want to have more longevity, you want to have better sleep, you want to have better mood, you want to be able to, as I say, spend longer on this planet with the people that matter, and you want to be active in your 80s, not just making it through life.
And are you noticing that programs such as Operation Transformation are placing health at the forefront of people's minds?
I have looked at it, and I have had clients come to me and say, you know what, could I just try this Operation Transformation food plan? And I suppose the biggest thing when it comes to the human mind and how we respond to things. So we have, when it comes to building habits, 70% of what we do on a daily basis is habitual. So our waking actions are 70% orientated towards habit. And so if you were to focus on eating off a specific food plan, that habit really isn't what we call context independent, in that if you're out of your environment, if you're out of your context, that food plan is probably not going to work. If you're out for dinner with a family or friend, if you're away on holidays. So understanding how to actually eat for your body and how to do it without a food plan, in my opinion, is how you will create long-term habits. And the science backs it. You know, if it's not context independent, then we can't maintain it. And that's what things like, I suppose, Operation Transformation maybe promote. And it brings it back to that. We know 95% of dieters fail. So can we change the dynamic? Can we change that compass towards actual health and not the weight of the body?
Levi, as a business program, I'm interested in hearing why business owners and managers are going to you. What's bringing them to your door?
Performance. I'm working with multiple business owners, executives, and the biggest thing that's actually sacrificed is sleep. So often we see in companies, that quite large companies, obviously I won't name any names, but quite large companies, you see work is pushed before recovery or sleep. When ultimately what you're actually doing there is you're compromising the level of work that you can actually do. You're probably making more mistakes. You will eventually get sick, and you probably won't be able to do very much. But that's what actually is happening. And I suppose what I want to do is change the dynamic with that and just help people improve their performance through functional nutrition and through lifestyle performance tools, such as getting absolutely brilliant sleep, making sure my clients are fully recovered, and understanding what we call the biomarkers, that I would get feedback from them that I know how I can advise them on how to approach their day based on how they're feeling and the feedback that I'm getting off the back of that.
And over the past number of years, you've developed your own Deep Health program. Provide us with an insight into what that entails.
Yeah, so the Deep Health program, what I used to run was obviously fat loss. I moved away from that. I want people to be more human. I want people to understand that, and as I mentioned before, we as humans, we forget that we're just animals. So when we're not up and about, we're not moving, we're not pulling, we're not dragging things, we're not lifting things, we're not actually engaging in the human side of ourselves. And so what I wanted to do is bring it back to, I suppose, in a group setting where there's ultimately a great community behind each other. And we know that support is contagious. And so that's what I wanted to create in the Deep Health program, and show people how to move their bodies properly, show people how to eat for their body type, how to listen to the body, and how to understand how to bring their body back to being more human. And we've really had some great success with the ladies on that program. We really have.
And I'm also interested in finding out from those that you've dealt with, let's say in the business world, that have suffered from sleep deprivation, what has been the cause of that, and ultimately, how have you solved that problem for them?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So if someone is skipping out on meals and they're choosing to work through lunch, they're not controlling their food as it comes in, their blood sugar can become dysregulated. And what can happen is when you go to sleep at night, if you get a drop in your blood sugars from maybe skipping out on meals and you're a little bit stressed out, your body will wake you up fast. And a lot of people find this between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. So that can be blood sugar dysregulation, or it can be dysregulation in your ability to create stress hormone, or creating too much of that. So we would look at things like healing the adrenal glands. We would look at things like controlling blood sugar. We would look at things like vitamin or mineral intake in order to make the pathways that help us have deep sleep function optimally. Okay,
and finally this morning, Levi, what are your top 3 tips for staying on track with your health goals?
Brilliant. Excellent question. So number 1, first and foremost, the most important thing is to focus on your sleep. And I know that sounds like the simplest thing. It's not a sexy diet. It's not it's not fancy. But looking after your sleep is my biggest thing as well, because we know that when you are well slept, you are way more motivated. Your brain operates on a much higher level. I would say move away from tracking your food on MyFitnessPal. Move away from diet plans. Learn to listen to your body, listen to your hunger and your fullness cues, and start to work with a nutritionist or a qualified trainer who understands the body. And the last thing I would say is be active for the sake of being active. Don't try and walk body fat off. Just be active because it's great for your body.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Levi Kehoe from Focus Health and Fitness, and I'd like to thank Levi for sharing his holistic approach with us this morning, and we wish him every continued success. We're heading over next to the Wexford News Centre for the news at 11, but when we return, we'll be joined by Brian Fox from Regatta Ireland, who'll be revealing why the beast from the east put his business in good stead for the recent lockdowns.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast